Hello my darlings and welcome back to another voice note from your bestie. Today we are talking about emotional intelligence, emotional regulation, and how you can be less reactive. Attracting the life that you desire requires a lot of hard work and a lot of focus, which means that you cannot afford to be affected by external circumstances and everything that Tom, Dick and Harry says about you. All this is going to do is hold you back and disrupt your peace, and we are not about that life here. I am a highly sensitive, highly emotional and passionate person. I care a lot about things, which means that I am naturally a little bit susceptible to be triggered by what people say. I am also an empath, so other people's shitty energy and things that they're feeling can often project onto me, and then I feel it and it's not the one. So best believe this journey of becoming emotionally intelligent and emotionally regulated was not an easy one for me. I quickly realized that this was not serving me one bit. All it was doing was making me really dysregulated, really stressed out, feeling like the whole world was out to get me, and it just didn't achieve anything. I was just stressed out all of the time. So I am going to share with you guys all of the tips and the tricks that I've learned along the way that have helped me become an emotionally intelligent and emotionally regulated human being. To become emotionally intelligent and less reactive, we first need to talk about metacognition. This was a term that I read in a book that I am just finishing now. It's a really good book. It's called Build the Life That You Want, and it mentioned this word metacognition, and it sparked my interest. So basically, metacognition is just being aware of what you are feeling and giving yourself space so you can react in the appropriate way. So to get a little bit sciencey, I'm just going to explain quickly two parts of the brain that are so integral in this process of metacognition. So you have your limbic system in your brain and you have your prefrontal cortex. They're the two ones that I'm going to be speaking about today. I know there's more, but your limbic system is basically where you feel things. It's your feeling brain, so to speak. The limbic system in your brain basically feels what you perceive from your external environment, and it translates that into an emotion that you feel. That information is then delivered onto your prefrontal cortex, which is your thinking brain. So an example of the limbic system being in action is, let's say if somebody cuts you up on the road and then they swear at you, like they were in the wrong, but they swear at you and they're all angry, whatever. Your limbic system would feel the emotion, so it might feel anger, it might feel a threat, it might feel fear. However, your prefrontal cortex is the more rational and logical part of your brain. So that is the part of your brain that would evaluate the situation and think, okay, this person must be having a really shitty day for them to be taking out their anger on me. I am not going to react at all. I am just going to brush it off because I know that reacting is not going to achieve anything. So yeah, those two parts of the brain make up the process of metacognition. So it's just allowing yourself that space to feel your emotions, but not react on your emotions and to actually think about it before you act. This is going to be a crucial theme throughout the tips and tricks I'm sharing in this video. So first of all, resist the urge to gossip and shit talk. We all know what it feels like to gossip and shit talk, and we know it feels great. We all love a little bit of a shit talk. We love to have our little say so and our opinion on people and their lives and things like that. It's just natural, it's what we do. However, this is a habit that you really need to cut out of your life. What gossiping and shit talking is doing is basically depleting and draining your energy that you need to be using to create your dream life and become the best version of yourself. I was listening to a podcast and she was talking about an Abraham Hicks technique called the 17-second technique or rule. The Abraham Hicks 17 seconds rule or techniques advocated by authors is effective in creating what one desires. Only after 17 seconds of concentration can you begin to shift into harmony with a thought, and after 68 seconds you can start drawing its essence into your experience. So basically this rule is saying that it only takes 17 seconds of you thinking about something for its vibration to be activated in your life. So if you're thinking of something really low vibrational and you're talking about somebody else for 17 seconds, I'm guessing it'll probably be more than 17 seconds, you are perpetuating this negativity and this gossiping, shit talking vibe, and it's not good, and it's going to manifest in a very low vibrational way. But in the same breath, if you think about something positive and high vibrational in 17 seconds, that vibration will manifest itself into your life also. So it made me a lot more conscious about the things that I'm talking about, and conscious about how much I complain about things and how much I give my energy and attention to certain things. An emotionally intelligent intelligent person is not spending all of their time and energy talking about other people. Number 2 is to cut down on stimulation. When I talk about stimulation, I'm talking about coffee, sugary foods, social media, shopping, gossiping. The list goes on. There are so many different ways that we can overstimulate ourselves in this day and age. I think a lot of us don't really like to be in silence. We like to always be doing something. We like to always be stimulating our minds and finding pleasure in every single aspect of our lives and romanticizing our lives in whatever way we can, whether that be listening to a podcast or jazz music or whatever. But sometimes it is good to just have a moment of silence and just not be taking in any kind of stimulation and external noise and just being with yourself. The reason I say this is because when you are constantly overwhelmed and overstimulated, you are not acting from a place of your best self. You are dysregulated essentially. Your nervous system is jacked. How can you expect yourself to be emotionally regulated when you can't even regulate your own nervous system? Just think about whenever you are hungry. Everything is overwhelming, everything is infuriating, you don't want anybody to look in your direction because you're so angry, and you just can't handle the things that you would usually be able to handle if you was operating at your best self and at your healthiest self. So it's the same thing as when you've got a dysregulated nervous system. When your nervous system is dysregulated, you are not operating at your best self, therefore you are less likely to be able to show up in the world in an emotionally regulated way, and this makes you more vulnerable. It makes you more vulnerable to being affected and offended by what people say about you, and it can also make you more irritable and angry and snappy and reactive, and we don't want that. So ways that you can reduce your stimulation is to maybe set time limits on how long you are going to scroll on social media, how long you're going to watch TV on an evening. You can get those apps on your phone where it kind of puts you in jail when you've been on the app for too long. You can put your phone on D&D. You can eat sufficient high protein, high nutrient meals that are going to keep you satiated and not craving sugar. And you can keep yourself busy by doing other productive tasks. You can do cleaning and just other mindless activities that aren't requiring too much of your energy. Number 3 is to have a mindfulness practice. This one is a huge one and it changed the game for me. I know it sounds like a load of bullshit. I know everybody talks about mindfulness and meditation and yoga and things like that, and I know it's annoying when people say it. I was definitely one of them girlies who was like, oh, I'm so tired of people talking about mindfulness and meditation and blah blah blah, but there is a reason why people talk about it. I like to look at mindfulness practices as brain training or mindset training. You have got to get so serious about that shit. You have got to get so serious about your brain health and your mindset health that you are consistently doing a mindfulness practice every single day. A mindfulness practice could look like yoga, gratitude journaling, prayer, meditation, stretching, going for a long walk. There are so many different ways that you can practice mindfulness. I also love to practice mindfulness in the way of doing dishes and doing cleaning and housework. I find this such a good way to wind down and be really mindful and be with myself. Having a mindfulness practice is not a one-time quick fix solution. It is unfortunately something that you have to do and top up every single day. It has to be a part of your daily routine. Even if that just means that you give yourself like a baseline. You can tell yourself that you have 5 minutes. You have to give yourself 5 minutes every single day to do some sort of mindfulness practice. Now, when I talk about a baseline, I feel like that's really important because then it gives you the flexibility to do more if you want to, but you know that you've always got that baseline of 5 minutes, and you know that 5 minutes is doable. You always have 5 minutes in your day to spare. I am very much calling myself out right now because I know that I have not been on my shit recently. I've not had a mindfulness routine. I have not had proper routines in place for me to feel grounded and feel like I am at a nice baseline of emotional regulation. As you will probably see from my last video, which was a little bit unhinged, but I've not been on my shit, and it really shows. When I am on my shit, when I have got a nice routine, when I have a mindfulness practice every single morning, it really does just set me off on the right tone to start my day. I approach everything with this energy of discernment, and I know what deserves my energy and what doesn't, and that's not something I can say I have as much when I don't have a mindfulness practice. And finally, shadow work and journaling. If you don't know what shadow work is, I do have a whole video about that on my channel. It's a really old video, so I don't know what that's like, but I know there's some good valuable tips in there. But shadow work is essentially exploring the subconscious parts of yourself and traits of yourself that you have suppressed because you associate associate them with shame and guilt. So for example, you might be a naturally really loud speaker and you get really excitable, but at one point in your life somebody shamed you for this. They made you feel like that was a really embarrassing and horrible thing to have about your personality. So as a result of that, you push that down into your subconscious self and you no longer allow yourself to be loud and excitable anymore. This was definitely something that was in my shadow. Now, shadow work is all about getting those parts of yourself that you have suppressed and pushed down and integrating them into yourself, bringing them to the conscious mind, let's say, so that you are aware of them, you're aware of your shortcomings, and you are able to integrate them with who you are. Because at the end of the day, if you are rejecting parts of yourself, you are not going to feel whole within yourself, because you are telling yourself that you have bad parts and you have shadow parts. Like, it is so important for you to integrate them into who you are, or just even be aware of them so that you can accept them and come to terms with them. I say shadow work because I think it's really important for you to know yourself before other people can tell you about yourself. When you don't know yourself and when you don't do shadow work, you are making yourself more susceptible and vulnerable to people telling you who you are. And I feel like when other people are trying to tell us things about ourselves that we don't necessarily agree with, but we can't really back it up because we don't know why we don't agree with it, we are going to set ourselves up to be a lot more emotionally unstable and unregulated, and we might be more likely to bite back and to snap and be defensive, but we don't know what we're being defensive about. It's just a whole mess. So when you actually do shadow work and you get to know the shadow sides of yourself, people can't tell you shit. People cannot tell you shit about yourself because you know it, and it will allow you to just, again, be more discerning about what you choose to give your energy to. If you know yourself, you are not going to give anybody the time of day when they are telling you something shitty about yourself that you know isn't true. Journaling is also such a good way to practice metacognition. I found this to be one of the most helpful and beneficial things when it came to being emotionally intelligent and regulated. So let's say, for example, you've had an argument with somebody and you really want to send a long paragraph text or ring them and give them a piece of your mind. In these moments, I am very aware of the fact that that is my limbic brain speaking, that is my emotional brain speaking right now, and that's not me, it's not logical. I know that I'm going to disagree with that in a week's time. Instead of reacting to that person, instead of sending them that long paragraph, I learned the practice of just journaling it. Whether that be journaling with a pen and paper, whether that be recording a voice note to yourself or recording yourself speaking and just getting everything off your chest, the most mean and hurtful and spiteful things that you want to say, just getting them all off your chest and speaking it into the world so you feel like you're releasing it. Then telling yourself that if you still feel that way in one day's time, you can send it. You can send it to the person you want to send it to, because obviously you've had time to think about it and it must be true. It must be something that you actually do need to tell that person. 9 times out of 10, you are going to look back at that on the next day and you are going to thank God that you did not send it because you do not agree with it anymore. This technique has helped me get out of so many tricky situations. Like, you will never find me sending a long paragraph to anybody. Like, I am not about to explain myself to anybody. I am not about to give someone what they want to hear. I am not going to bite to somebody. And I know that it's not worth sacrificing my peace for. If you are a highly sensitive and emotional girly and you get overwhelmed and overstimulated very easily, which I'm guessing you are if you watched to the end of this video, then I would highly recommend checking out the rest of my content on my channel, because I speak a lot about these kind of things. I do a lot of videos like this, but I also do videos every now and then when I'm just feeling all the feelings and I'm just kind of processing what is going on in my brain, and I feel like they're helpful videos if you're feeling a similar kind of way but you can't really articulate or think how you're feeling and you just want a little bit of validation. I offer all that kind of content. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe and share, comment, whatever, because it really helps the algorithm promote my videos and get my videos out to people who would really benefit from it. If not, that is completely cool too. I still love you regardless. I hope you all have an amazing weekend, amazing weeks, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video.